kind of a loud, screechy, meditative thing, you know? Welcome back to the worm, by the way. A little bit warm today. Oh, I shouldn't take that off. I'm getting my head bit. I think the next 2 days, there's supposed to be like waves of hellish rain, which is going to be fantastic because I think the high for the next 2 days, 64 and 66. Oh. I've had so many tents in the last 5 years living out here. And the underneath of the tent, the poles, the bug screen, the, what do they call it? Like the pan, all totally fine. It's the rain fly that just gets baked by the sun and then it gets funky. I don't know, just from being set up and lived in for months and months. So I had a pile of old tents, all with degraded rain flies, and I hate throwing stuff away. Don't you get so many products where like one part of the product is bad and that makes the other 9/10 of it worthless? Oh, it makes me crazy. Ooh, that's a biter. Sorry, buddy. Anyway, I think it was a year ago, I took like maybe 3 or 4 tents that I'd worn out. They were just in my storage. I pulled them all apart. I take all the hardware off of them, save them in a bag. Sometimes I save the poles. I had a mass of tent poles like that, and I just got rid of all of them. But I still have one of my most recent tents, 4-man summer tent with good bug net that breathes really nicely. I really want to try making a tent fly out of Sunbrella, which is that waterproof, sunproof canvas that they use on boats that lasts for 10 years. And then when it warms up in the springtime, I can put it out there. I can leave it until the fall. I think it'll last a long time. I was gonna say, oh yeah, that's a biter too. Get him. Oh, where's my shotgun? I totally got him. Gross. That was a real squish. Yeah, eat it, buddy. He knows the sound of the like house flies and the biting flies. He can tell the difference. Oh man, something bit just now through my hat and my hood. Curse you! So this is the material we're gonna make it out of. I have the most of this. I still am not sure if it's enough. So this might end up like a circus tent, multicolored panels. So I was gonna set the tent up on the tent deck where it belongs, but this project might take, depending on weather and all that, I mean, it could take a week. Could take longer if I don't have enough material. But, you know, my sun allergy, I'm not gonna be out there in the sun patterning this stuff for days. And the patterning stuff won't work if it's raining. Kuiper and I have been down to the gazebo once or twice in the last month just to make sure it's not garbagey in there, the animals didn't eat through the screens or anything, but I still haven't used it. I think it's probably big enough to set up a tent in. Then if it's hot or raining, we can work in there. We might as well take everything down there. So I think I said in the last video or two, my computer craps up. I've promised Sarah that I'm switching to a Mac because it doesn't make any sense to do what I do on a PC. The Mac base price, I think, for the lower one that'll work for me, $2,500. I've got 6 terabytes of SSD storage in my PC right now. That base $2,500 computer comes with a 1/12 of that. If you want to get it up to like 2 or 4 terabytes, it's like an additional $1,200 or something, or 15 or 18. Anyway, we're up to like a $4,000 computer, but it completely overheated again this morning when I was editing. So we're gonna try this, see if it makes any difference. If not, maybe I could like sell my body or something. Haha, still quite waxed. This is the smaller Jackery. Will that put out enough to run that planer? 15 times 110, it should. It's gonna be working hard because that board is really wide and it's aged. That is some hard stuff. Well, that's the worst thing that could have possibly happened today. I was in there for at least a minute or two and I heard a dull thump. The mud is just crammed into the front of that thing. Oh yeah, jeez. Look at that. It's just creeping. Well, the power still turns on, or at least the screen. I've been meaning to make a pin for this thing to stop it from moving. We kind of overdid it when we melted that candle, didn't we? Well, now it looks broken in. Man, it's just crammed into that USB. What do you think? Is it going to work? Maybe not. Hard to say. Uh-oh. Plugged in. Uh-oh. Wonder why it didn't turn on the first time. I know you're not here to see me plane a board. You're here for the tent. I get it. You'll be fine. Just hang in there. We're going to plane this whole thing into sawdust. Get it down as thin as we can, where we don't think it's going to break in half. Just putting a computer on it. I'm not going to waste all that battery power just to make this thing thinner. I think this isn't going to be a traveling board. Plus, it looks kind of cool like that, doesn't it? Well, it is what it is. Last ditch effort. Gonna take a minute to top that battery up with what little sun we got left for the next few days. Before we load all the stuff in here, might as well go down and see if the tent actually fits in there. You get all this space here. You're gonna sit right on my feet, aren't you? Yep. It's been a while. Do you remember how much you like tents, buddy? You freaking love these things. Yeah, from the bottom of this looks new, but the lid is fried. Totally fried. Oh, I didn't think of this. There's no way to put these poles all the way out in here. Feels so weird to be out here and be able to take this stuff off without bug spray. All right, well, this is definitely not going to work. I mean, it fits like that, but it's got to turn the other direction because the fly and vestibule come off here and off the other side. I guess we'll go set it up on the tent deck. I think I'm still going to do my sewing down here. So there's two different ways to do this. I hate to say it, but one is right and one is pretty wrong. If you've got any cover like this that's been used a while, you really can't rip this apart at the seams and use it to make a pattern, because over time things stretch in weird ways. You know, you might stake part of it out pretty tight and the panel stretches a little bit. You know, maybe the door on the front is a perfect arc, but after you've used it for a year, the arc has a little bit of a square on the corner, and when you're doing this big geometrical shape, it just won't come out right ripping something like that apart. You probably do it when it's brand new. You could definitely do it when it's brand new, because that's how they do it when they make them. So I'm thinking I'm going to put the tent back together, try to get it all in the right shape. Have to be able to do this on, this is flat enough. I don't think you'd want to do this on a uneven lumpy ground or anything, because the tent would be set up a little bit funny and it could throw the whole thing off. Doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but if you cut out all these panels, you know, you got to stick these two panels together. You start at this end, by the time you get to the other end, you can end up with something like this. You know, they're supposed to be like this, which just gets to be a real headache. Making a brand new pattern from the tent, just the tent like this, if it fit tight to the poles, would be quite easy. But doing the vestibule is going to be a little bit trickier without actually having it put together to see what it's supposed to look like. So we'll throw the lid on it, get it all staked out tight, and then we'll make I think we'll just do a pattern right over the top. I have a hunch this is going to end up being a bigger job than I think. You can see where this is already getting interesting. See where the seam is and the poles. I mean, I could pull it and make them line up. Once it's all put together, some of the poles are going to be off a little bit. So the question is, do you go where the seam is or where the poles are? And the answer is you go where the poles are. And then if you don't take the tent part of the tent down, the new cover should go on and fit exactly on there. But that's a good example of how things have stretched and shifted and stuff kind of funny. See how that doesn't line up? Oh yeah, look right there. There's one pole, there's the other pole, so the cross is right there. There are actually Velcros every place you have one of these for the guy lines. If you ever checked it on your own tents, there should be a Velcro on the bottom of that you should put on to the poles. It stiffens the whole thing up, makes it a lot stronger. Of course, if you're just like in a national forest campground or something for a night, I guess it doesn't matter. See, that Velcro is meant to be right there in the middle. This will help straighten some things out, I guess. Then if you want to guy it out, it's actually attached to the tent and not just the rain fly. See the little pooch right there? So one corner is a little tighter than the other. So you got to pull that over, but when you do, see how this gets slackened? That's why we're going to set it up and re-pattern it. So this will get the correct triangle here, so you won't have this. It's got these adjustable corners on it, so you should put a stake in here and then be able to tighten it down. But from day one, there's no way you could set it up where you didn't have this issue. I'm going to try to reuse all this stuff, all the hardware, the clips and stuff. I probably won't use the zippers. I'm going to put a big fat zipper on here that'll last as long as the fly. I'm not actually a big fan of this being doubled or tripled like that, so I think we're just going to do one piece of webbing that comes all the way out there with the hook. And then you'll still pull it like this, but it's not going to loop back around. I have to make this about a mile long. Yeah, so watch. If you staked it like that, everything's loose. You gotta have this like real extreme angle out here. What do you think? Will any of these tapes stick to a waterproof rain fly? Kuiper wasn't so cute and sweet. I'd have really been mad when he went through this thing. I think this was sitting like this, and he got back behind it and tugged on it, and because it's old and crispy, yeah, it ripped. I think I'm gonna need the tension to set this up right. Actually, this Tyvek tape is the stickiest stuff I think I have. Whoa, that's actually not bad. How about the waterproof side? Wow, all right. Tyvek it is. There's a freaking piece missing. Hopefully that went all the way through him. I think this Tyvek tape has been even more useful than duct tape out here. I think you and I are going to have a little talk about this tent. Don't yawn, you pay attention now. When they make a tent, I wonder if the geometry of the whole thing has anything at all to do with the size of the bolt of fabric they use. So I think the bolt I have is 60 inches. I'm going to try to find the biggest panel on here, see if it's close to 60 inches. Let's see the longest angle. God, you know, sometimes you just feel brilliant even when you're not. So if my theory holds, we should check all the rest of these. There shouldn't be any panel bigger than 59. 59, no way. Oh, those doors look kind of big though. Ooh, theory busted. 66. Huh. You guys know I always leave a ½ inch. That's the seam allowance. And that's why a 59 inch would make sense to me. Like that would be the biggest panel you could put on there. So this 60 inch, I'm gonna have to make, you know what? It's that you can't have both sides more than 59. Because clearly you can unroll as much as you want. 58. So they're using 60 inch bolts too. Well, that just happened to work out. This panel right here is a good example of why you don't want a pattern from an existing thing. All the time this has been set up with tension right through here. You laid this on a piece of fabric, this is not going to lay flat. It's going to have like some weird memory into it. Ran out of time last night. Didn't get anything patterned, and it was pouring when I woke up. What can you do? Came out here after the rain stopped and toweled off the tent. And there are no drops on it or anything, but like, I don't know, maybe this is stretched out because it's wet or something, but it's not as tight as it should be. still wet. A little bit on the seams, darn. Guess we'll start on the top. Trying to listen to a talk by apparently the best mathematician alive right now. It's definitely making me dumber. I keep thinking that it's gonna clear up and he's gonna go back to human speak at some point, but it's not happening. I guess I should take the time to put fence in there too. It says these little Velcro stilts, I guess I could rip off of here and put in. In case you didn't figure this out, which I'm sure you did, this is not like a day tent anymore once it's done. This is just a sleeping tent when there's no sun. You don't really want a dark color for a fly because you'll bake in there. On the other hand, Sunbrella does actually breathe better. I don't think this stuff breathes at all. I wonder if we have to put our logo on here. We'll see how long this project takes. Got a feeling that by the time I get this finished, I'm not going to want to be adding any more work to it. Whoa. I haven't sprayed the tent deck yet this year. It feels like it's greased. Got to stop that jabber in my ears. So I'm going to draw right on the tent. We're going to kind of name every panel, and I kind of like just to take this down with me later on when I forget what all these names mean. I'm going to draw it out on my iPad real quick. Okay, so that's the shape of it. And then the blue are, all of these are seams, but the blue is where the poles are. The green are just additional seams. So that's where all the door ties are. And then I'm gonna do the same thing for all the guy points. Like my whole life I've done this kind of stuff just with a regular good old caveman pencil and a piece of paper. The really great thing about this I've noticed is as I'm walking around, this is a mistake I make all the time. I don't know if the glare is too bad, but as I'm walking around the tent, I just move it to make sure I've got the right orientation, because it's really easy to get this mixed up with that or the other way around. So it's nice just to swivel it as you go. And then obviously as it gets too cluttered, you can just go in and, you know, turn extra stuff off here. It's pretty cool. You guys said this is a brand new invention. This iPad thing just came out this year, I think. You should get one. Oh, we should put in wherever the Velcro is on the back of these, mostly behind the guy points. Are you not getting enough attention? If you're not knocking me over, you're keeping my feet warm. It looks a little chaotic, but it's pretty, and I think I've noted everything I can find. So I think in order to conserve the patterning material, I'm going to try to make several patterns on one piece. You can do that by using opposite sides of the material, by using different color markers, and just by taking it like patterning one thing and then turning it around, doing another. By the time you put all the notes on it and everything, it does get pretty confusing. But if you're a cheapskate, you deal with that kind of stuff. Like I'm sure I've mentioned a lot before, I buy pretty much all of my canvas stuff. Threads, zippers, grommets, like all that kind of stuff from Sailrite. Their prices are good. They're a great company. They sell everything. I don't know if they sell material like this. It's just basically clear plastic tarp, but it's thread reinforced. So when you do patterns and you're pulling it off and moving it around, it's not weirdly stretching out, kind of throw your whole pattern off, you know? Bought this roll many years ago, but I'll see if I can find where I got it, and then I'll put a link in the description if you feel so bold as to try something like this yourself. Oh yeah, I forgot we were going to name all these. Front, vestibule, left. Front. Whoa, yeah, that's pretty worn out material. Vestibule, top, left. Another thing on every single panel, it's always good to put an arrow. So these are all going to be up. If you're doing a boat or something, you usually do it towards the front, because these panels get super confusing when you've got them all laid out. I'm afraid that unzipping these doors is even gonna move things. Let's do the worst ones first, ones that are hard to reach. So when I put that tape on, I tried to get it right on top of the pole. It doesn't have to be perfect. I like to do this, just, I'm gonna run the pole between two fingers right along there, and I just put the marker in the middle. Then your line will be right in the middle of the pole. There's spots that I can't quite touch the pole in there, so I just leave a corner blank, just put arrows on it later on when it's laying on the floor or whatever, you can connect those lines. Always transfer your notes. Main, top, rear, and an up arrow. Now we're also going to put notes on here. So right here is a Velcro to Velcro to the poles, but there's no guy there. So I'm just gonna put, let's call this pole Velcro. These notes actually have to be really good. If I'm gonna reuse some of the parts from this fly, I'm gonna have to rip the entire fly apart. Once it's gone, you can't come back and like reference anything. If you didn't write this and you got all these panels laid out, you go, wait a minute, was there Velcro there or not? You got it written out. It's always worth taking 1 second to make sure you marked everything before you rip it off there, because you'll never get it back in the same place. How many back and forths do you think? I'm guessing 12. Oh, look at that. That was really good. Pole Velcro. And this is main, top, front. Sarah got me this thing when my back was so bad. It comes in handy. I don't know how good the grip is. Let's see. Oh, pretty good. Wow, that worked great. Draw the straight line later for the bottom edge, so I'm just gonna mark the corner. Arrow. Done. Should have done this from the beginning, doing the right and left matching panel together, because then it's the same size chunk of plastic every time. I got so close to finishing the patterning yesterday, but then it started raining. It rained so hard that it's now like 2 or 3 in the afternoon. I couldn't come out until now because everything was flooded out here. That water bowl was empty when I went to bed last night. I don't know if you can see the swirls on the ground and where everything ran off. It was all puddles, almost no it was like a lake, but it drains pretty fast this time of year. Yeah, you can see where it carved this out, where it was all running down. Oh yeah, and Kuiper's giant crater under the table that he keeps digging to lay in was like its own little lake still hours after the rain stopped. Anyway, got to finish up 3 panels and then we'll get to sewing probably tomorrow morning. When I was working on the pattern last afternoon, I'm looking at how to actually sew all these pieces together, and the trickiest part is probably this little piece over the door, which has to attach to this and have a zipper underneath there. Say you sew all those things together, then you connect the zipper over here, you come all the way down. Somehow all these pieces have to end up being the same length like that. If I was doing this completely from scratch without that thing to look at, I wouldn't even consider doing a zipper like that. So I think what I'm gonna do, since I've already patterned some of these pieces, is take this piece of the pattern and that, I'm gonna tape them together into one, and then we're just gonna put zippers straight up there and straight up there. That'll save a ton of work and headaches. And since it's starting to rain again, I guess we'll call it a day. Nice seeing ya. They're a little bit wet. That's okay. Okay. We got them all. So the only thing that's left to figure out is what order to put all this stuff together, all these panels. And I'm sort of feeling like we'll do zipper, zipper. Since we got a straight edge here, we'll connect this maybe all the way down to the triangles there. So that'll be one piece all the way there, and then another stripe all the way here. We won't hem all the way around the edge until we're frickin' done. So if this is shorter than this one, we'll just cut it straight all the way around, hem it up, and then deal with whatever the fit is. What do you think, buddy? You want to change venues? Should we go somewhere? Come on, buddy. Here he comes, full speed. Man, I'm glad we don't have the tent in here. So much space to work. Instead of drawing the line and then coming back and cutting it out with scissors, we'll just give it a chop. Some of these were pretty hard to get all the way down to the bottom, so I'm just gonna connect those. Yeah, I guess we could cut it out as long as we're gonna have to stop when we hit the other pattern here. Wow, I'm surprised some of these lines are almost straight. I think if they're within a 16th or something, I'm just gonna cut them straight. Switch to the blue side. Wow, really close to straight. I thought pretty much all of these lines would be curved. If they're that close, you have to assume that when they made the fly and they cut all these panels out that they were straight, and then they've just slowly scooched a little bit over time. You don't actually have to cut these out because clearly some of these overlap, so I can't cut it out. When you're transferring this onto the canvas, it's easier if it's like this. You can just draw right along the edge. This one you kind of got to go underneath and draw it, which is why you'd ideally not want to overlap patterns like this. Alright, so that's two panels, two of what was it? 12, 18? Let's do the rear door first. Blue lines. There'd be a zipper on both sides, plus 1 inch that away, plus 1 inch that away. Over the door doesn't need anything, so plus 1/2 inch for the seam. Plus 2.5 inches that way. These are all finished zippers, so you can take them and pull them apart and stick them back together. Finished zippers, like, it's got one end like that. You know, it's like on a jacket, so you can zip it all the way down and then take it apart and get it back together. Bulk, you can just buy like as much as you want by the foot. It's got no ends on it, which is fine for us because when you unzip the door, we're just gonna make it stop there. You're never gonna take it apart. What the heck? I planned ahead? That's what we're looking for right there. Full roll of it. Well, that's freaking great, isn't it? Why was I so sure the second I rolled that out you were gonna lay on it? It's not exactly what we had in mind, buddy. This ought to scare you off, though. Scary. Just need to slide it an inch, buddy. Well, we can do without. You stay comfortable. This is a little bit of a problem. How come every time I put this on the floor, you gotta lay on it? Oh, I know, you're trying to hold down one corner so it doesn't blow away, right? Something I can do for you? Do you think I could maybe shift you? Here we go. Stay. No, stay. 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 Half an inch on the top. No matter how many times I move him, he always ends up with part of his body on the work piece here. The dude does not like to be too far away from the action. Oh, we do have to write on here what it is. Rear door. Oh, that's a weird shape. It's a good start right there. How many times doing this do you think I'll screw up and sew something backwards or put a panel in wrong? I think it's going to be many, many times. Alright, I think we're going to do, instead of making a flap that goes over the zipper, we're going to do the fancy hidden zippers. So we lay these together and temporarily stitch them to each other. So I think this is 25 feet, so we'll just tape the whole thing right now. Tape right on that edge. Take our temporary seam and spread it out. Just try to get that right down the middle of the seam. So now that's stitched on, that's the inside. There's the outside, looks nice and clean. And for now, I'm gonna leave it like that. But if at some point this whole panel gets too huge or out of hand, I'll just do ahead of time, I'll take the seam ripper and you just go right up the middle of it, and then you've got a hidden zipper in there. You can peel those little edges back and your zipper will slide right up in between there. Couldn't finish all the way to the bottom yet because we still have to do this whole edge hem later on. It's already way too stinking hot out here, and it's only gonna get hotter the next bunch of days. Ugh, it doesn't help that it's perfectly still right now and the sun's out. The upside of this day is I got to start with 4 episodes of Car Talk, and then I had 3 whole episodes of the Skeptic's Guide to the Universe, so it's definitely a fantastic listening day. That is the full front vestibule, door and 2 panels. Let's look at the notes and see what we should do next. These are the 3 we just put together right here. And I already patterned out these here and these here. So let's go ahead and put these together and then these together. And then we'll stick it right on with these. Right triangle up. I don't know if you saw it on the tent, but any place a bunch of these panels came together, I just picked a random number and wrote it on all those. Kind of just a double check. This is number 7, so I make sure they're going in the right place. Hopefully when we're sewing this long strip of panels together and the next one, all the numbers will match up. So we'll go like this. Right here in the number 7s, there'll be 4 7s together. And right in the dead center of that is going to be a piece of Velcro and the little loop for the guy line. At the very end, I'm just going to go through, rip out a couple stitches, stick this stuff in there, and re-stitch it. At least that's what I'm thinking at this moment. That may change. I just realized these edges that need to be hemmed up on the bottom, I can kind of go panel by panel. So this one now has the door on one side and panel on the other side. I can see how they match up and just finish them up one by one. I don't know if you can see the white line there. That should have lined up right here with the edge, which would make it hang over about 1/2 inch. So I'm just going to go ahead, straighten this line up. That'll be our new edge like that. Trim it down and we'll finish that piece. Actually, and with that one, it'll let me finish the zipper too. So that right there will be our new edge. You know when you don't have to deal with doing this, screwing around with these things that don't meet up right? When you make your pattern fresh, this is what I get for trying to follow the fly that was already on there. It would have been more of a challenge probably to make the vestibules. I don't know, even then. I should have taken my own advice. Then everything would just come out exactly in the right spot. I thought I could get away with doing some kind of a hybrid, but nope, this is what always happens when you try to pattern something old. Alright, one stripe. Need a blanket. We've used about half of the material I have on hand here, roughly. I don't think that's going to be enough to do the whole tent, but I do have more on the way. Let's see, what should we try to put together next? Maybe we do this part. And then maybe we sew these together, and then we go back and do this as one panel, this is one panel, connect those together, connect this whole thing on. And to avoid any of the starting on one end, traveling to the other, and having it hang way off, I think we find the middle of this, and we stitch this way down to the end, then we come back from here down to the end, and then we do that again on these. Oh, and these are the vents. This is the shape of the plastic pattern I made for that panel, and really it only needs to be like that. And then another one needs to be made like that. It wasn't supposed to rain today, and I have the solar panel out and my big battery. Oh no. Gotta go cover it up. Probably not enough rain to hurt anything, but can't take a chance with that battery. Ooh, sounds like it's a good thing we ran up there. Maybe we should break up this green a little bit so it's not just a big green blob. I do have a little bit of like a super nice brown. It's like a mix of brown and lighter brown and darker brown and black. Can you please stop? Thank you so much. What if we did something like that? Since the vestibules are different and there is kind of a front and back, it'd be nice to be able to tell when you're setting it up which direction's which. So maybe we should do that door brown, or we could do the sides of the door brown, because I don't even know if there's enough on here to do one giant door. We could just do that to break it up, get the two side panels and just some other little piece. Let's see how much fabric we have. Oh yeah, we're not getting any doors out of that. Feel it out, see what you think. Nope, those are the only two pieces that'll fit on there. Too bad, I could have fit those side triangles. That actually would have looked pretty cool. So let's see, it's going to be like this, which is really not too interesting on here, but I think it'll help break it up. And we could at least trim the bottom of the front door with brown. Yeah, we'll figure something out. Let's just at least do these two panels, little panels in brown. Oh, you know what we'll do? If we could still get some strips out of this, we'll do that that one pole sheath, that pocket that holds the front vestibule out. That we'll do in brown. That'll actually make it look kind of nice. Please stop. Shoot. Oh, late over there. When I used to do this for a job every day, this is what I found works the best to hold your patterns in place. That thing won't move at all. I'll just tuck this under there, don't you worry about it. Might not have been the best decision for the audio. It'd be fine, it'd be fine. Jeez, oh Pete. That's even loud to me. One day, I'm gonna pour a concrete floor out in the middle of the woods just to do this kind of stuff. Just have something perfectly flat to work on. Because all these weird ridges and everything just, I don't know, they make everything just a little bit wonky. Big lump. Big lump. Can't even draw on it. Before I cut out the other side, let's see if one of these vents actually goes together right. So, should go like that. Oh, you know what we need to do? I don't have any way to make that Velcro stake that goes in there. I guess that we'll have to go rip off the other tent. Let's go have a look-see. You know what? It's 4:45. Screw it. We'll do it in the morning and then finish putting all this together. Kind of too hot to live in the cabin anymore this summer. Could do it in the mornings, but the evenings are miserable. Just found this. Remember we sewed up this little cap for the heater? Probably should have put it on when I turned the propane off, but you never know if you're gonna have to turn the heater back on a time or two. Ooh, my heat putty's getting a little bit cracked. I'll fix that in the fall. God, if the fall ever gets here. It can't come too fast. I don't know what it is. I just feel like I want to die when I'm in the sun when I get too hot. A few degrees warmer today, so I'm gonna get my sewing and stuff done early, probably by lunchtime or something. Piper and I are just gonna have fans down on the gazebo. He's gonna get naked. He's a freaking weirdo. I'll probably get mostly naked. Just sit there with the fan on, maybe edit some videos, maybe just sit back and hate my life. That's another thing we're gonna do. We're gonna mix up some borax right now. At least spray the stoop on the gazebo, because he runs and jumps up there and slides right into the screen. Yeah, this is gross to sit on. Let's steal this. Shoot, we can just cut this right off of here. You know, probably shouldn't do that. Maybe when we get the new fly done, we'll take the whole tent off of there and spray it. I have no idea what happens if you get this on like the metal on the tent poles or on the tent itself and leave it there. We'll just go do the gazebo. By the way, all the vents and stuff I put in the cabin attic, they do work. I think like whatever the outside temperature is, it's staying like 3 to 4 degrees cooler now. I don't know what that was, the last video or something, we put the vents in either side up there. And then biggened the vents up there on top. Put those weird oval cuts in there. So that's good. Probably buys you like another week or something in the summer being able to stay in there. What I'd really like is some air conditioning. Actually, last night before I went to bed, I was sweating my ass off in here. I did wonder if there's any way using just a fan you could get some cooler air in there. And isn't the ground, like if you go down, I don't know, 5-6 feet or something, it's always the same temperature? I don't know what it is. It's not freezing cold, but it's certainly less than, say, 70 degrees. I think it's like in the 50s. Couldn't you dig a trench, put some pipe through there? Maybe like some PVC or something, a long trench, have it come up in the cabin. Somewhere a fan in there to either force the air down or out and blow like 55-degree air in the cabin. I think we might have to try that at some point. I don't like to look stuff up online, but I might just make sure of the temperature, the ground temperature, and how far down you have to go. I think it'd be worth a try as long as you didn't like hit magma. The tiger lilies are out. They're definitely the surrealist flower in the forest around here. You probably love to eat them too, huh? Piper. We was looking at that, yo. What a monster. It'll be interesting to see just by the end of the day, or in the next couple hours, how much this fades. These are what's gonna kill me. No, go on. These green stumps. 10 months out of the year, I look at this thing and I go, why did I spend all that time building that thing? And then July and August, you just could not, I know, I say the same thing over and over, but you could not be out here. You could not live out here in the bugs, in the heat, without some place like this to escape it all. Freaking forgot my glasses at the cabin. I'm not going back up there. Too hard to see. I think we're just gonna sew this little yellow piece right inside. Cut off whatever we can. The more tape you can use, the better. The easier it is to sew stuff. Reach in there, pop it up like, yeah, that should be good. Okay, all we got left is to sew these panels together, and I can't even think of how they go together without looking at my sketch. It's a good thing I put those numbers on there. 1 and 6. Okay, we're putting the 2 long strips together. It's the moment of the truth. I think we're about right here. So we're about to run into the first set of seams to see if they come together, and then the other one here, and then worst of the worst is all the way down here. If anything's getting off, it's going to be accentuated going down. Just couldn't really think of a better way to go about putting all these panels together, so let's just see what happens. You always feel like you're gonna bust something, but it always just seems to work. Just goes right through those things. Okay, so here's the first set of seams. And we're off maybe a 1/2 inch, which I think we can just kind of fudge. It'll be all right. Okay, we got up to the next joinder of seams. They're off about 1 inch to 1.5 inches, which is not great, but because of the place and the tent it's at, it's not like at a sharp angle or anything. I think it's going to be okay. Guess we better stop there. Let's see how it worked out. Hey, it's not bad at the bottom. Maybe 3/4 of an inch off. Considering that was like a 10-foot seam and we did some fudging, we can make that work. I had to take a quick break because I couldn't stop thinking about this underground temperature thing. It says if I dig down 6 to 10 feet, I can expect the temperature to be between 40 and 45 degrees. Air in the 40s coming out? Oh! I do have some more digging projects to do this summer. Maybe in the middle of the summer on the hot days, we'll dig down. That's the other thing. How deep will the digger go? I think like 5 or 6 feet. We should take the laser thermometer and get ground temperatures going down in there. Dude, we've got to do this. Kuiper, look at him. He needs this. Sure do. Look at you. Might be what we're doing next week. No, next week we're finishing the tent. Then we might be working on AC. How it works. Long pipe, typically 6 to 12 inches in diameter, buried 6 to 10 feet underground, where the temperature is stable. Outside air is drawn through the pipe, either passively or with a small fan. Dude, it's a real thing. And we just came up with it on our own. Air after passing through 100 feet of pipe is 55 to 65 degrees depending on blah blah blah. The cons, moisture control is essential. Pipes need drainage and proper slope to avoid mold or condensation. Requires fairly long pipes, 50 to 200 feet is common to be effective. Works best in dry, well-drained soil. We don't have that. It would essentially be running through water. Yep, we're gonna think about it for a few minutes. Going down the other side from the middle, the first seam was pretty much dead on. Now we're getting down to the bottom. We are an 1/8 off. Perfect. This is great. This is great. Well, I think that's all we can do till we get more material, but I kind of want to go throw this on the tent just to see what it looks like. I'm afraid it's going to look like a big green blob. What do you think? You want to go up to camp? You forgot to eat breakfast. You're too little. You need to be eating more, buddy. What's that? Oh, I forgot to give you breakfast? Oh, all right. Hey, it's not so green out here anymore. I don't know. I might just be imagining it. It should take longer than that to kill that stuff. It'll get there, though. I guess he didn't want to walk. This is going to be about a 10-pound green fly. Hey, that's not looking too bad. It's hard to pull it on there because that tape is still all over the whole thing. That's not bad. You can see, I think this is the worst one right here. See where those didn't quite come together? And probably right in the middle there, I'll rip those stitches and put the guy loop right there and the Velcro inside. That'd be all right. I mean, as long as they're not way off. The vents look nice. Be a little bit tauter once this is all stitched on here. It's nice having a little bit of brown. And then, yeah, we're definitely gonna do that with the brown too. And wasn't there one more? Oh, this front chunk. That one, that's already cut out in brown. So that'll look good. And then I think we'll do that edge in brown if we have enough left over. What a dork. Oh yeah, you can see on this side how nicely those came out. That's how it's supposed to be. And then this one too was, well, this was less, maybe a 1/2 inch off. That's just fine. Too hot to be alive. Let's go do some computing. So we got the board, we got the cooler, then the computer, all plugged in, blowing air, and it's still not great. If you were watching when I took the whole computer apart to see if I could figure out how to repaste the GPU and CPU, I did that. It helped a little bit, but it still overheats, so I don't know, we'll try this again today. We'll see if this whole shebang keeps the computer running. I just need like another year out of it would make me happy. All right, thanks for watching. Next week we'll have the tent finished. Materials getting delivered day after tomorrow. We'll get the tent finished, we'll take it for a 2-month-long spin. And in the meantime, we'll move on to other fun projects around here, like maybe trying to make AC for this place. I don't know, it might work. Kuiper and I might die of black mold ingestion. I don't know. I mean, sometimes you just don't know. Thanks for watching. See you guys.